Hey everyone, Rico Rivera here with Silicon East Real Estate Powered by Guide, and today we have a special guest. You know what? I'm not going to do it justice, so I'm going to let her introduce herself. Tell us all about you, please,
Oh,
Assessor Wynn.
Rico, thank you. I'm so excited to be here to talk to you today about Prop 19.
Oh
And
my
yes,
God.
I am Assessor Christina Wynn. I'm a Sacramento County assessor. The assessor is elected, in case people weren't aware of that. I serve a 4-year term, and I was reelected in June of 2022. And I've been working really hard on Prop 19 to get it implemented, all the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. And we're going to talk about some of that today. So maybe we should just jump right in.
I like it. I like it. So you made it right to the point. Good, bad, and the ugly. So let's talk about the good, then we'll talk about the bad, and then we'll talk about the ugly.
Okay. Yeah, I think Prop 19, people were a little confused about it when it was on the ballot. It was on the ballot. A lot of people don't even remember it. And they probably don't remember because it was right during COVID. So, there was a lot of things going on during that time. And I think the last thing people wanted to really think about was property taxes. So when this was on the ballot, there were, a summary that was provided, and a lot of the highlights, the good parts were highlighted. And I think people, when they read that, they just thought, hey, this looks really great. I'd like to have this benefit someday. I'm going to go ahead and vote for this. But there were some fine print areas there that people didn't really understand. And I can't really blame them, because property taxes are complicated and they're really not all that fun to think about. I mean, every year when you pay that bill, oh, you just kind of cringe a little and you're like, wow, that's so much money. So I could understand why people were just hoping for something good, because we're all kind of hoping for that. But there are a few things we're going to talk about maybe that are, like we said, the bad and the ugly of Prop 19. But let's start with the good part of Prop 19. And so one of the things that this Prop 19 did for everybody was it expanded the ability to port your property tax base, made it portable. So when you buy a property in our state, the value of the property at the time you acquire it becomes the tax base. And that basically sticks with the property for as long as you own it, or until you alter the property with construction. And it only increases a small amount each year. It's regulated by the original Prop 13, which was put into place 45 years ago, going on 46 years now. And so that keeps people's taxes affordable. They knew what it was going to be when they bought it. They can predict every year what it's going to be going forward, because the increases are small, 2%, and that kind of thing. So a lot of times when you're ready to move, your tax base is less than the market value of that property that you're going to sell. And under old rules, there was a limitation on whether or not you could take that tax base with you when you moved. So now with Prop 19, you're allowed to transfer that tax base to any other property in the state. And you can do that up to 3 times.
And
This
that's
is track.
great.
Yeah.
That is great. So let me just say that there, and I'll tell you that when I first saw the ballot and I read it, it sounded great. It sounded really good. But I did not read the small print, like you said, right? And I don't even think the small print was there. But I mean, most of us as homeowners, because I'm a homeowner and I've been a homeowner for a long time in California, we look at the snippet, what is everybody talking about? And then you also look at the promotion, right? The
Yeah.
news and the ads and all that good stuff. And so I think today is great, because you're, as the assessor, you're the one that's actually regulating this, right? You're the one that's actually telling us implementing this. So I thank you for being here. So let's get more into it.
Okay. So when you can take your tax base with you, now, you have that advantage of keeping those lower, the assessed value when it's lower than what okay, so let's go through the process. When you sell the property, the value of that property is compared to the value of the property that you acquire, the replacement property. And if you are trading up, let's say you're buying a property that's worth more, then what happens is you get to keep the tax base from your original, and we just add on the difference. So you have to pay the difference. If you're trading across the board or trading down, you just get to keep the tax base, of course. So that's really important because the price of real estate nowadays is pretty expensive. And so, for every $1 million of real estate, it's a little over $10,000 a year in taxes. So if you can save some money there, that probably goes a long way. It used to be that the rule was you could only have this benefit if you were trading down, and you could only do it one time. So now that you can trade up and in any county, so you can take your tax base to any county you want.
You can move.
Yeah, you can move all over, and up to 3 times. You have to be 55 or disabled, severely disabled, or a disaster victim. You have to be somebody who had a fire or flood or something like that. Now, if you're a disaster victim and you take advantage of this benefit, it doesn't count towards your 3 max. It's a freebie.
Yeah. And this is 3 max for the lifetime, right? For your life.
Yes. And, you should have a freebie if you survived a disaster, because that's a serious situation. Some of the fire areas, they received an extension on the time that they get to take advantage of this benefit, because it's taking them so long to get their properties ready to sell, because you have to have 2 transactions here. Now you can work your transactions in any order. So you could buy the replacement property first and then sell the original, or sell the original and buy the replacement, either order. But you have to do this within 2 years. You have a 2-year time limit. So you can't, if you go beyond the 2 years, then you don't get the benefit.
That's
So
really good to know.
Yes, that's a technicality to keep in mind. A lot of people thought that 2 years was enough time, but sometimes it's not, because you could also construct a property as a replacement. It doesn't have to be something that's already built. And sometimes when you have construction, it does take quite a long time. Now, there's another benefit that we call extra treatment. So let's say you sell a home for, 1.5 million, and you buy a home for 1 million as your replacement. That $500,000 difference, that trade down, that creates what's called extra treatment of 500,000. So for the new house you bought, the $1 million home, you could spend another 500,000 on that property within the 2-year limit and not be reassessed for that.
Which is great, because a lot of people do that. People do go into homes and add pools or add values or renovate something, remodel something. So that's great.
Yeah, they're building ADUs, they're doing some things. Now, all of this does require applications. You have to file an application for these benefits. There's an old saying in our business: what you don't pay in taxes, you pay in paperwork. So just assume, if you're going to get any kind of benefits, you're going to have to apply. And what you do is you go to the assessor's office where you're buying the replacement, and you get the applications there. And the staff at that office will also help you if you need it, making sure the paperwork's filled out, because you're going to have information from both counties. Sometimes it's the same county. We get several people in Sacramento, they wanted to buy the replacement right here. So that's the old way it used to be, where you had to keep it within the county. And we still get a lot of those applications. So it's important to get the paperwork. Now, when you acquire property, you're going to fill out some information. There's a form called the preliminary change of ownership report. It's all part of the escrow package, and it has a lot of questions. It's got, our letterhead on there. It's a lot of questions about the property. And what we do with that information is we determine whether or not a benefit could apply, or details about the property being acquired that help us appraise the property. But in this case, there are some questions that ask about whether or not this is a replacement property that might qualify for Prop 19. And if they check the right boxes and indicating that it is, then we will automatically send the information to them at their mailing address.
That's great.
So prompted from us. It doesn't mean, though, that they can apply for it another way because they can go on our website and get the forms. And if they don't fill the P-Core out, maybe they didn't understand the question or didn't know about the benefit at the time, they could still apply to get it. They could still apply for prospective relief later on too.
Mm,
If they meet all the conditions, let's say somebody a couple years ago, 2 years ago, they bought their replacement and they would have qualified, they just didn't know about it. Well, they can come in now and apply. They just won't get the benefit back to that original date. It'll be prospective benefit.
mm. That's good to know too.
It is. So a lot of the benefits do have the prospective components now where people aren't penalized if they don't apply right away. They just don't get a refund for prior years, but still some savings is savings. So, it's really great to pay attention to some of this because it really can mean a lot of savings for people, even if they're not really sure about it because there's no cost to apply or inquire. And
Real quick on that, on the
yeah,
application, is it online? Can somebody go online
yes.
and what's the website? And then also, can someone that's been living there for a while go online, or when did that go into effect? I want to make sure people are aware of that.
Oh, so the date for the Prop 19 was April. Oh boy, I think it was, I want to say it was April 21st, or no, I think it's the 15th. Actually, I think it's the 15th
Of
of April of
23,
2021.
2021. Oh, that's a
Right.
great
So
date.
we're 2 years past that now, right? So your transactions have to be within the 2 years. But if they happened like that, like one of them could have occurred before the inception date, and the second one from that date forward, as long as it's within the 2 years, they could still apply today.
Very good.
It
That's
just
good.
has to be, those two recording dates have to be within 2 years, and one of the two has to have occurred after the inception date, which was April 15th, 2021. Now, some people might qualify under the old rules still, and so they're not completely locked out if it all happened under the old rules. So they should still look into it and
Perfect.
see what possible benefit they could get. And the best way to do that is to contact your local assessor and get the process started. Because like I said, it's free. There's no cost to that. So
And what's the website people can go to?
Sacramento County, www.assessor.saccounty.gov. And every county does have a county assessor with a website. And so they could just Google their county assessor and it'll come up right on the screen there, and they'll be able to get phone numbers and other ways to contact the staff.
I love that. Now, I know we talked a little bit about the good, but you also mentioned the bad and the ugly. Is there something that you want to just tell us that people are probably going to be shocked by, or didn't
Yes.
realize that they can then get more information by? Because we don't have an hour, right? This could be a topic that me and you can talk forever
Oh,
on.
we could, but yeah, I could keep going. You have to just tell me to stop. But yeah, unfortunately there was a part of Prop 19 that I don't think people really understood. Like you said, I'm not sure it was explained very well or even at all. And this was the inheritance transfers. Those benefits were pretty much eliminated with Prop 19. And I think the thinking was that, well, this is a way to help pay for potential revenues lost from the base year transfers. But, it's hard to say whether or not that's realistic or the truth. We don't even know what the numbers are yet. And when we're looking at the numbers right now, it's not really looking like it's making a big difference. So it's hard to say, but regardless of that, it used to be that you could transfer your property to your children, and as long as it was within $1 million of assessed value, they would easily qualify. But under Prop 19, the only way they could get that benefit is if the heirs move into the property within 1 year and live there for the rest of their lives.
That's a big deal. That I think is probably what kind of made me want you to be on the show and speak to people about, because it's something that I didn't really understand initially, and I think it's a big deal because you know, you just don't know people's situations, scenarios, how many kids live in the, you know, or how many heirs there is,
Yeah,
if it's feasible for me and myself to live with my family in my old parents' home,
yeah,
all that stuff, and it's so black and white that maybe it does not make sense for some people, and then that's when this benefit this Prop 19 does not benefit them. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's definitely not benefiting a lot of people who have put their money into their properties for generational wealth building purposes. And they could have, because the old rules did allow you to have like a vacation home or a rental property or a small commercial property. And now under Prop 19, none of that qualifies, period.
Now,
So
if people wanted to really get more information about this, and I know there was a petition for some of it to be taken out,
yes,
where can they go get that information, or where can they go learn more about it?
repealthedeathtax.com. Howard
Thank
Jarvis, the Howard Jarvis Association is right now gathering signatures. They have till, I believe it's February 5th to get the postmark on those signatures to just roll back the inheritance portion of Prop 19. I think there's confusion. People believe it's rolling the whole thing back. No, that's not true. Only the inheritance portion. That's the only portion that they are trying to have returned to the old, more liberal rules. And I think that that's what should happen. It's not fair what happened. People didn't realize what they were voting for. The thing barely passed anyway, as it was. If people had known more about it, it probably wouldn't have passed. But I do know they're really struggling, you know, trying to get signatures. They don't, it's all word of mouth and they don't have a lot of money for it. So if you want to have this undone, definitely get a petition and sign it.
Yeah, there you go. So you have until the 5th. It's the website is repealthedeathtax.com. I think it's important for all of us. I mean, anyone that's a homeowner, anyone that has kids that maybe you know, in the future might have to deal with Prop 19 or anything like this, right?
Yeah.
It's always good to be aware and to be educated with what's going on and what the actual law is, because it does make a big difference, and it makes a big difference in everyone's pocket, not any in my opinion, any homeowner in California, it makes a difference in. So you know, we're out of time, but I wanted to say thank you
Okay.
so much for being here. I appreciate you. I know you came to our office, and I know you go to offices and talk to realtors about this, but you're doing a great job, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Rico, for having me. And if anybody has questions, just please reach out to us any way you can. We'd be happy to help you. So thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.